moving on, we are so honoured to have Abubaker Abed here. Many of us will have been aware of his posts and his videos over the last nearly 2 years when he was chronicling the absolute devastation of his people and the war crimes against them. And he had to leave. He had to leave because, like many journalists, and we've seen now 245 Palestinian journalists murdered to silence the truth. Abubaker would have been one of them. His mother begged him to leave, and the way she got him to leave, which was a very motherly thing, I must say, she said, not only will you be killed, your siblings will be killed and I will be killed, so please leave. And then he left. He's going to be studying journalism as if there's anything we can teach you here in Ireland from next month. So can I please give a real Irish welcome, please, to Abubaker.
Well, first things first, I think he said something important to Italian. I always have always reiterated this, that honestly, this is my heart speaking, not my tongue speaking, which is, since I arrived here, this is my second home now and forever. So I just have to tell you that the welcome that I've received since leaving the Gaza Strip back in April, the way the Irish people treat Palestinians, the way you care, is something that will always stay with me forever. And even if I come back to Gaza, I promise I'll return to see every single one of you. So it's really my honor to be here in this country. So as she just pointed out that well, we talk about journalism, we talk about the attacks that have killed journalists over the past 22 months. And this is not some sort of aberration, it's by design. And on that point, I just have to clarify something, and the reason why I left. It's correct that I listened to my mom, but I really wish she could die for my homeland. That is going to be my honor, of course. Anyone would be honored to die for their own homeland. But when you look at Anas Sharif and the other highly respected journalists who have been murdered deliberately by Israel during the genocide, it's not only about Israel. It's also about the Western media which has been inciting against his likes throughout the genocide. And not only the Western media, but because of the lack of protection and care by the so-called Committee to Protect Journalists across the globe. And Anas Sharif, when he was threatened by the Israeli military and Israeli spokespeople, he begged for the word to protect him. He begged for international media organizations to protect him. His goals fell on deaf ears, and that was the case. And then after he was killed, some so-called Western journalists have shown up to pay condolences, but they never showed up when he was attacked by those disgusting allegations. For me, I could have stayed and could have told my mother and deceived her, because she's not a big follower of the Western media and the Western world. I have to be very honest with that. But if I stayed and told her that, well, the CBJ and the international community and the international media world would protect me if I stayed, and then she would believe that, I would have been 100% murdered by Israel, especially after the threats made against me. And Dr. Ali can tell you that, he can tell you this probably on his own microphone, that every time he was making sure that the other day I would be alive and not killed, specifically in the last couple of weeks before leaving, because they threw nonsensical allegations at me that I was a Hamas operative and I never held a gun in my life. By the way, this is what the Western media has played a role in. This is what the Western government has played a role in. But most importantly, because I can't really get this, that the Irish media, sometimes when you look at the media operating across the globe, they either represent the people or the governments. But when you look at RT, the Irish Times, and most of the Irish media outlets, the government says it's a genocide. The people, although we agree that the government is complicit in this Holocaust, but the people say it's a genocide and are supportive of Palestine. The government is supportive of Palestine and presumably and says it's a genocide. None of these media organisations in Ireland do represent the people or the government. So we have to ask ourselves a question, and this question has always come across my mind all the time. Who are these media outlets representing? Is that a British foreign agent in Ireland? Or is it an American foreign agent or something else? That's what we really need to understand. Because I can't get it that the RT and the Irish Times, when those journalists were killed, they ran the headline as a quote from the Israeli military. That is like the Israeli military says it had, a Hamas camera or whatever. The RT still calls it as an Israel-Hamas war. The Irish Times says it's a war in Gaza, but in every kind of article you would see at the end of the article, this war has been triggered by Hamas-led attacks on October the 7th, as if there hasn't been no context to give or intel in this article. I've worked with Western media organisations, and recently I've been invited by some. When I came to Ireland, I was invited by both the Irish Times and the RTE, and both I refused them, of course, because no, I'm not going to soak my hands in blood with them. It doesn't matter, my words don't matter at all. The same with the BBC and the CNN, I worked with them. And the fact is that when I worked with the BBC in the first 4 months, I wanted to change them, but of course I couldn't because the Zionist lobby is unmatched. They're absolutely servile to the Zionist lobbies. But when I worked with them, I was speaking with the producers, they understand that what they're doing is wrong because they keep doing it wrong. They keep doing it this way, and they say, you're right, it's a genocide, we are biased, we are extremists, we are, until the end. However, we can't say, because I hear some people saying that, we can't blame them, they are oppressed, they are the weakening part. But if they were not weak, and they showed some kind of resistance, these organizations would have changed. So this is also on them. There are some good, highly respected and amazing journalists in the UK and across the countries, across the globe, who have resigned from their jobs just because they can't bear it. Imagine sitting right now on a laptop, sitting around the table with a laptop and justifying the amount of Palestinians every single day, and then I'll take my salary by the end of the month. It doesn't make any sense to me. How do these people feel? How are they human beings? How can they take it? The same with Belfast, Ireland, the Belfast Telegraph. The reporter contacted me. I said to him, look, I don't know the paper, but tell me, is what you're producing propaganda or journalism? He said propaganda. I said, I'm not going to share this. I'm going to share. I'm not going to talk to you. And I thank you for your honesty. So they know, but they are really worried to challenge their own organizations. And it starts from this. No organization in the world, no media organization in the world would have become this callous and this monstrous in justifying and manufacturing consent for the Israelis to go ahead with its Holocaust in Gaza, except by the weakness, the deliberate weakness of those people. Because if those people and those so-called journalists and workers and editors and producers had challenged them, that would have been changed. That would have been changed a lot, and everything is being taken into consideration. Because the last time, it was only 3 weeks ago, when the BBC reached out to me and I said to them, you're a mouthpiece for Zionism, and I'm not going to speak to you at all. So they take it into consideration. The CBC Canada, it's the same. And when I said to them, I'm going to speak to you at The Hague, this is the only time I'm going to speak to you, they really said to me that we are going to take this into consideration and we're really sort of trying to change something. And they said that they will make a meeting over my reply. So a reply can change a lot. We shouldn't be really worried about, saying the truth. Like I've survived the genocide, and when we come in here, whatever, and then being silenced out to take care of security, to take care of my position or my status, it doesn't make any sense to me, I'm sorry. But she says that I'm going to study journalism in September. I'm not going to study journalism if the genocide is still ongoing. I really can't. I can't do it. And the kind of feeling that people and those students who are coming to Ireland will have after leaving their families is absolutely unbearable. It's a very agonizing, antagonizing, and heartbreaking decision. No one can take it. No one can take it. Like, imagine every single second is a second of extreme danger on your family, is a second of unbearable pain. Every time, Dr. Ali has been with me quite a few times, Kieran has been with me as well, and he can tell you, every time you hear an Apache helicopter up in the sky or an airplane, my knees ache a lot. Like, I'm very terrified every time I see it. And the problem is, I live in Drogheda, which is near the airport. I have to change my location. Honestly, it's very unbearable. It doesn't, a lot of the nights I don't sleep. To have a family, all of you have families. They are with you right now in the room, probably, or they are at home. But you are safe, emotionally safe. We are Holocaust survivors, that's true. But survival means both the emotional and the physical survivor. It's not only about the physical survivor. What does it mean if I'm surviving physically, and then all that I'm thinking about all the time is just my family and the pain they're going through, and that the contrition that is eating me up every single day to sit in a chair. And you probably would be very sure that I'm saying sitting in a chair is a blessing. It is a blessing. I'm sitting on the streets beyond, amid the garbage and amid the pools of stagnant sewage. I'm sitting there. Sitting in a chair is a really huge privilege. Having electricity in the room is a really huge privilege. People have to be thankful. And what is all this, what I mentioned, is different the story. But the fact that when I buy something, when I want to buy a drink from outside, whatever, that there are taxes on it. I'm sure there are taxes on it. And some of the taxes that I pay myself are going to the Irish government, and then from the Irish government they will go to Israel, and then this will be used to kill my people. I can't imagine it. This pains me a lot. I feel, I'm sorry, with all due respect to every one of you, and how much I love Ireland, but this feeling is lethal. Is absolutely lethal. I'm forced to pay taxes to a government that is funding the genocide in Gaza and giving us tepid kind of statements every other week, but also Simon Harris, when he comes up with a statement, you would say our priority is first the release of the hostages, or the prisoners, by the way. So you can see the level of hypocrisy and sycophancy here, that he puts up the release of the hostages and then we need humanitarian ceasefire. So it doesn't come the other order, that humanitarian ceasefire is the first one and then we go to the release of the hostages. So why am I paying for that? Why are you paying for that? Why are these taxes still being used by the Irish government to help Israel continue genocide? As Dr. Ali has just mentioned. Why am I forced? Is he forced in the UK? Because in the US he's also forced to pay tax dollars to the US regime, which is supporting the genocide in Gaza. The same here. It's not different here. It's not that different here. All that we're seeing, in everything that we're seeing at the moment from Ireland, the media organisations, we need a solution to it. I really need a solution. I can't really look at the Irish Times building every single day or coming over in Dublin and then seeing what they are doing. What they're doing is extreme propaganda and manufacturing of consent for the Israelis to go ahead with this genocide campaign. So you're living among people who are supporting, who are acting under your name, who are co-committing and perpetrating a Holocaust into your name. And people in the future wouldn't say that, I'm sorry, the Irish people are excluded. They would say some people, but in the end it's your country. So how have we allowed this so far to continue? It's been 4 months and I'm really so pained. I'm really so pained. I can't get it. Like every single day, if I want to give, like if I want to have a vegetable, I don't eat much because like I'm still kind of recuperating from malnutrition because, well, I've never tasted the things that you have, strawberries, whatever. Those have been dreams for me, like in Gaza. So I'm not used to food, not used to anything. But whenever I want to, I want water or whatever, I need to pay. I need to pay taxes for the Irish government, which is financing this genocide. So why is this happening? And who are the Irish media outlets here in the country representing at the moment? And why some stories that are being run by the Irish Times, they take everything said by the Israelis. So we need to know, like, I need to know, who are they presenting? Who are they representing, literally? I can't get it. Like, why are they doing this? If I'm in the country as a journalist, then if we swap positions, and then I would say on the killing of one journalist, the Irish Times, the killing of their own family, and would say, look, this was triggered by Hamas, and according to Hamas, Iran Health Ministry, your family was killed, so we have no proof that your family was killed. This is what they are doing at the moment, and it's a part. It's also playing a major role why the Irish government is still frozen to act and really remove every sort of action that is seen as a complicit act in the ongoing genocide in Gaza. The other thing that I really want to tell you about is living in Gaza, because, you know, you're all hearing about the starvation and seeing some of, like, you know, a lot of you, and I'm sure a lot of you are parents and are, you know, I think I've seen a pregnant woman, if I'm sure. Are you pregnant? Yeah. Yeah, I really hope that you will have the best times with your baby, and I'm sorry, but I'm jealous of you, because I saw my sister, but jealousy is definitely positive jealousy. My sister, in 2024, she had to give birth to her baby, and at that time, she had to stay at the hospital for long hours at night, because the priority is for those who are being genocided and who are being wounded by the ongoing genocide and the fluxes of casualties that are flooding the hospitals every time. And I went with her at that time, and probably the child remembers this day. And when we went there, we went from 3 in the afternoon, we stayed after midnight, so she had to wait and got so much pain from labour at that time for 9 hours. No doctor would have been able at that time to approach her and help her with her birth giving. So she had to wait 9 hours. They had to hear her groans every single minute. And no doctor, there's a priority. Those who are injured are the priority. We have to help them, not like those who would come afterwards or who are giving birth or whatever. But when we went, bombs, because the hospital was a tented hospital, so it wasn't like a building with electricity or whatever. It was a tented hospital in which those pregnant mothers would be hospitalized to give birth to their babies. And then this hospital was near the beach, and in the beach you have military vessels for Israel, and they would attack the vessel abruptly every time, and so you would hear the bombs and the shells and the voice of projectiles unleashed by those military vessels in the sea against the beach every kind of 5 minutes, and she had to bear witness to that. She had to live through that, and she had to live to go outside the house under the bombs and under the attacks, and she had to stay there, groaning in pain, utter devastating pain for more than 9 hours. And then this is not the story, because like after she gave birth to him, then for 1 year and a half, and I have to be honest, I'm not shy to say this, but she's literally begging for me and pleading for me every single day to get back of diapers, every single day, just a pack of diapers. And I'm telling her, whatever the money is, I'm going to send you that. But she says, there is not a single pack in Gaza of diapers at the moment. There is not a single one. And the same for many mothers have faced. But because I'm saying this because mothers can change the world. Women, I'm sorry, with all due respect to men around the world, and with due respect to all men, women are much stronger than men. And I'm saying that as a man, by the way. So you can change a lot. You can really change a lot. You are the mothers. You are the makers of the future. Those mothers in Gaza, when I was meeting them, when I was interviewing them, and some of the stories I wrote for the Return Father, and I wrote a story back in February 2024, Babies Deprived of Basics, and most mothers, they literally, instead of the diapers, they put a plastic black bag, which was used before, so it's not a new black kind of nylon bag. No, it's not a new one. It's something that it's a bag that they have already used. And another thing, because I have a niece as well, like my other sister, who is a mother, she has a niece, 3-year-old niece. Every time I call her, she would have been crying to her mother just for an egg, one egg. What world are we living in? We're living in 2025, and there is this tiny swathe of land of around 2 million. They can't now less than the space of this tiny swathe of land, and now 20% of this land are now right now being pushed and hauled off to the south of the Gaza Strip as Israel continues ahead and goes ahead with its occupation of Gaza City. And no one is scaring away it, because as long as there are no sanctions, Israel will go ahead with it. There is no punishment. It's fine for them. We're going to see like the reaction of the world. No one's saying anything. Israel is still being supported, so we can commit any war crimes that history has never ever seen at all. And one time, this 3-year-old daughter, when I was in Gaza, my niece, one time she asked for French fries and ketchup. That's something like all children love, all babies love. That's normal. And then her mother told her there are no potatoes in the market at all. If there are, I would do everything to bring you one and make you. And then I had a mobile phone at that time, which is called Xiaomi, so it has a default background that is being changed every kind of 2 minutes or whatever. So I put my phone aside, and then this little 3-year-old niece who's now being malnourished and is taking heavy medications just to recover from what she's going through, she saw the phone with a background of French fries and ketchup, and then she started licking the screen. I mean, it's unbearable. It's unbearable beyond words. Outside my home, there was a tent. There were different tents dotting the street, along the street. And in those tents, I saw 8-year-old girl, 7-year-old girl, and 11-year-old girl. All of them are playing a food game, throwing food in the sand and say, like, what do you fancy today? And they would say, like, we need a chocolate, and Nutella chocolate, and then they would throw a jar of Nutella chocolate, and they would then put the sand in their mouth. What world are we living in? Like, you have to know what starvation means. You really have to know, because you have to act. You're talking to someone, I'm talking to people at the moment, I'm talking to you at the moment, as someone, and Dr. Ali knows that, as someone who has had the bitterness of having animals' food in front of him. I'm talking to you from a position where I had to drink water, come from the toilets, literally coming from the toilets. You have to know what starvation means, because you really have to feel our pain. Like, our pain is literally beyond words, beyond words. Imagine one time when I was with my family and they brought us this kind of cat's meat, but we just make sure the cat's meat here in Ireland, the Bed's food here in Ireland is a lot much better than that. And at that time, like, my family, we were happy, we were ecstatic that we could really get that kind of meat at that time. And imagine we had to cook it together. Imagine yourself cooking cat's meat for yourself.
Cat food.
Cat's meat. It's canned meat. It's like a can of meat.
For cats.
For cats, yeah. So it's cat's meat. Yeah. And then you have to cook it with your family, and then sit with your family and have every bite of it. And then we would say, like, thanks God that we had it. That's what starvation means. Every time. One time Vitaly asked me in the live stream, how is the food situation? And this question really pained me at that time. I said to him, I only had 3 meals over a week. Right now, this is even much worse, very, very much worse. A lot of the days, I'm not here to shy away from anything. This is the reality that was forced upon me. And a lot of the days, I promise, if not most days, I would just be at night and I can't sleep, my stomach pains me, I need anything. I'm also suffering from a weak immune system at the same time. So it's very excruciating. And I would go to the fridge and I need anything. A single piece of bread wouldn't find in that fridge. A single piece of bread. And the other day, I would meet my family and they would talk about their dreams. And then my sisters, who are the same age of probably those late, like 30 years old or 35 years old, something like this, and the whole family would come and say, well, like, we would talk about our dreams because that's the only thing that we still have hope on. And then they would say, like, I dreamt of having, like, just chicken and rice. I dreamt of having one strawberry. I dreamt of having grapes. I dreamt of having some figs. I really fancy it. And then I would go outside in the streets and like talk to my neighbours and we would tell them, what are you talking about? And they would say, imagine if we are in a restaurant. That's now the dream, the level of the dream the Palestinians have. The word is living to dream. Palestinians are dreaming to live. And this is the difference. This is the difference the world has accepted, because we're not seen as equal human beings. We're not seen as any other people across the globe. The Western Empire that Dr. Ali has said has always told you this, has always told people that no, those people are not like us, and we could see that. We could see that in Tombarak and the Lebanese territories saying that act civilized. So which kind of civilization is he looking for? A genocide type civilization, or what kind of civilization is he looking for? Because who are these people to lecture us on what's right and what's wrong? Because he mentioned the resistance in Gaza, and I'm just here to point out something different. Even presumably, I were a resistance fighter. That is not shaming me, that is honoring me. And I wish I were a resistance fighter. That's not something to So I would have been honored to be in that position. I would have been honored as you are so proud of your grandparents who have fought for your own freedom and for your own integrity and for the basic rights that you are enjoying at the moment. And I would have been honored to be in that position. And I wish I could be in that position, to be honest. And I wish I could be a resistance fighter. So our right and our collective responsibility is first to feel the pain of Palestinians, and second, to honor every single one in Palestine. We're not terrorists, we're nothing. We never wanted to fight wars, we never wanted to create problems. All that has been forced upon us, and you cannot tell Palestinians what they should do. This is not an address to you, this is an address to the Western governments. So forget about the hostages, whatever, so-called terrorism, whatever. What Israel is doing, the only thing that is terrorism is what Israel is doing. That's the only terrorism we've seen. We don't have to defend what Palestinians are accused of, but we have to attack the people who are accusing Palestinians of being terrorists, whatever. We have a right to self-defense, we have a right to armed resistance. The Upper East Rising in 1960, it was seen as a terrorist attack, and we all know that. But then it was the start of the end of the British Empire, and you were all free, and that's what your grandparents have sacrificed. So no one in this Western despicable empire that has been occupying you, because you have to know, occupation is not only physical occupation, it's also mental occupation. They are controlling you. They're not allowing you to do what you want. They are committing a Holocaust and perpetrating a Holocaust under your name. You should refuse that. This is not what your children want from you. This is not what your own, and I'm sure sincere and pure consciences needed from you. We have to act together for only one thing, to only feel the pain of Palestinians. And as Nelson Mandela said, our freedom will not be complete until all Palestine is liberated. That's you. The hope is in you.
Feedback!